Your wealth is not waiting for more work. It is not hiding in the next exhausting hustle, the next anxious calculation, or the next forced opportunity you try to wrestle into place. No, your wealth is waiting for the right words, spoken from the right place in spirit. And until those words pass your lips with the authority of one who knows their divine inheritance, the vault will remain sealed. I tell you plainly, the vault is not sealed by God. It is sealed by the speech you have been using without knowing its power. Every idle sentence, every complaint, every statement of lack has turned the key in the wrong direction. But the moment you speak the right phrase, aligned with the law of supply, the lock turns, the bolts withdraw, and what has been held for you rushes forward without resistance. I confront you with this sacred truth because you must first be shaken free from the lie that only effort produces increase. That lie has kept you in perpetual motion, yet standing still in your results. You have been taught to believe that the sweat of your brow is your only currency. But in the kingdom of spirit, the true currency is the word of faith spoken in alignment with divine law. The wrong words will deplete you. The right words will enrich you. Picture it now, a great steel vault, its hinges ancient yet perfectly balanced, its door adorned with a gleaming wheel lock. Inside, there is no dust, no emptiness, only shelves stacked high with gold, currency, contracts, open doors, opportunities, and blessings bearing your name. Yet this vault will not open to force, to pleading, or to guesswork. It will swing open at the sound of the one decree that matches its divine combination. And when it does, there will be no trickle. There will be an avalanche, because the law never delivers in half measures. This is the hour to stop speaking as one locked out and begin speaking as one with the key. Before our time together ends, I will place that key in your hand. But I must prepare you first, so that when you speak it, you will not doubt, you will not dilute it, and you will not speak against it in the very next breath. The vault is listening, heaven is listening, and before long, the earth itself will answer your voice. For too long, you have been sold the lie that words are mere sounds, harmless, empty, inconsequential, and that the only force capable of producing wealth is relentless human action. This is the great deception that has kept multitudes laboring without harvest, building without joy, striving without ever tasting the fullness of their supply. It is a lie so deeply embedded in the consciousness of this age that even when the truth is spoken, many dismiss it as fanciful, impractical, or naive. But I tell you, this deception is the veil that must be torn from your mind if you are to hold the key to the vault. You see, words are not idle. Words are spiritual commands that summon, repel, create, or dismantle. Every sentence you utter is a seed, sown into the soil of your reality, and by the law of the word, it must produce after its kind. When you say, "I can't afford this," you have issued a decree of lack, and your circumstances will conform to it. When you murmur, "Money never comes easily to me," you have set in motion the very delays and struggles you fear. These phrases may seem casual, but in the realm of spirit, they are binding orders, and the law of God, which is precise and impartial, must obey them. The truth is the opposite of what the world has taught you. Wealth does not only respond to the busyness of your hands, it responds to the authority of your voice when it is in harmony with divine mind. Job 22:28 declares, "Thou shalt also decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee, and the light shall shine upon thy ways." This is not poetic suggestion, it is a spiritual law. A decree is not a wish. It is a command spoken with the certainty that the outcome is already secured in the invisible and must appear in the visible. The mechanical world says, "Prove your worth, and maybe you will be rewarded." The kingdom says, "Speak your worth, and the law will arrange the proof." Can you feel the shift in that truth? One leaves you chasing, the other leaves you standing in authority, calling forth what is already yours. The phrase "I will give you" is not random, It is constructed according to this law, so that it carries within it the full pattern of wealth manifestation, recognition of supply, rightful claim, and manifestation under grace. Once you understand this, you will no longer speak as one outside the gates, but as one who walks through them at will. The lie will lose its hold, and the truth will become the only language you know. Before our time together reaches its close, I will give you the exact words, the decree that has unlocked wealth for countless souls who dared to believe in the authority of their own speech. But understand this, it is not simply the syllables that matter, but the consciousness from which they are spoken. Words are the form, but faith is the substance. And when the two are perfectly married, creation answers without delay. What I will hand you is not a casual affirmation to recite in a moment of wishful thinking. It is a precision instrument, a spiritual key cut to fit the lock of your own prosperity. From the first moment you speak it with full agreement of heart, mind, and spirit, the vault will hear you. The sound will reverberate in the unseen, causing currents to shift, channels to open, and opportunities to align in ways that seem almost too orchestrated to be called coincidence. You will notice that certain doors open without your knocking, that certain names and ideas come to you unbidden, and that the very atmosphere around you feels charged with divine possibility. This is the sign that the law has been engaged and is fulfilling its side of the covenant. But I will also tell you this. There is a reason I am not revealing the phrase this very moment. Power mishandled can be wasted or even turned against the one who holds it. If I were to place the key in your hand without first training your tongue, without first rooting out the old language of lack and contradiction, you could speak the right phrase in one breath and cancel it with the wrong phrase in the next. That is why we will walk together through the law, the preparation, and the alignment, so that when the moment comes to speak, the decree will stand unchallenged in your consciousness. So keep listening, for each minute that passes is another turn of the wheel lock on that vault. Each truth you receive is another bolt sliding back, another barrier removed. When we reach the final movement and you speak the phrase aloud, it will not be with uncertainty but with the full force of divine authority, and the vault will not creak open. It will swing wide, spilling out the wealth that has been waiting for the sound of your voice. The wrong words have been locking the vault. One right phrase will open it, and you are closer to it now than you have ever been. There is a law older than any nation, more enduring than any empire, and more certain than the rising of the sun. It is the law of the spoken word, the divine decree that what is spoken from a place of alignment with infinite intelligence must manifest in the realm of form. This law is not a human invention, nor is it a fragile superstition. It is woven into the structure of creation itself, as much a part of the divine order as gravity is to the physical world. Florence Scovel Shinn called it the game of life played according to spiritual rules, and she knew that the tongue is both the most powerful tool and the most dangerous weapon in that game. Every word carries vibration, and vibration is the language of substance. When you speak, you are not simply making sound, you are sending out a frequency that organizes invisible matter into visible expression. The universe is not deaf and it is not neutral, it is obedient. It listens for the voice of authority, and it answers to the one who speaks in conscious union with divine mind. That is why idle words, words of complaint, and words of fear create visible disorder. They carry the same creative power as words of blessing, but they call forth after their own kind. Shinn taught that every decree of worth must contain three elements: an affirmation of abundance, a denial of lack, and a surrender to the outworking of the law, under grace and in perfect ways. Without all three, the word lacks its full charge. The affirmation sets the intention, the denial clears the interference, and the surrender ensures that what comes is aligned with your highest good, free from harm or struggle. This is not about forcing the law, but about cooperating with it, trusting its infinite intelligence to bring the right form at the right time. Think of your tongue as a tuning fork. When it strikes the note of lack, your life vibrates in sympathy with shortage, missed chances, and limitation. When it strikes the note of abundance, your life resonates with supply, opportunity, and increase. But the most potent sound is not simply abundance for abundance's sake. It is abundance called forth in harmony with divine order, so that what you receive not only enriches you, but blesses all it touches. This is the sound the law recognizes most clearly, and it is the sound that will open the vault. In the minutes ahead, I will show you why so many who have spoken positive words have failed to see results, and why a properly aligned decree works without strain or delay. When you understand this, you will stop guessing at words and begin commanding with precision, and the vault will not be able to resist the sound of your voice. Many have spoken words of prosperity with enthusiasm, yet their lives remain unchanged, and they conclude, often in disappointment, that affirmations don't work. But the truth is this: words without law are like seeds thrown onto stone. They may carry within them the full potential of a harvest, yet without the right soil, they cannot take root. A decree that is out of harmony with divine law, or one spoken from a mind still saturated with fear and contradiction, is stripped of its creative authority before it ever has the chance to bear fruit. Empty repetition is the first pitfall. Some repeat phrases mechanically, thinking that sheer quantity of words will force the universe's hand. But the law does not respond to rote incantation. It responds to the quality of the vibration behind the word. A decree uttered once in absolute faith is more potent than one repeated 1,000 times with doubt gnawing at the edges of the heart. This is why Florence Scovel Shinn insisted that every word must be spoken from a place of inner agreement, thought, emotion, and expectation all aligned. Without that unity, your mouth may say, "I am rich," while your heart whispers, "I am afraid." And the law, hearing both voices, cannot deliver a clear result. Counterfeit affirmations are another stumbling block. These are words used not to express faith, but to cover fear. Imagine a man drowning who shouts, "I am safe," while his mind is consumed with panic. His words are not a decree of safety. They are a plea disguised as an affirmation, and they carry the vibration of desperation, not authority. The law reads the vibration, not the dictionary meaning. When your decree is simply a mask for inner terror, it will summon experiences that match the terror, not the words you intended. This is why the alignment with law is crucial. Isaiah 55:11 tells us, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please." The operative truth here is that the word accomplishes what it is charged with. If it is charged with fear, it will accomplish fear's work. If it is charged with certainty, it will accomplish certainty's work. The universe is exact. It will never send back to you something mismatched to the vibration you sent out. To speak effectively, you must first cleanse the inner chamber of conflicting beliefs. You must root out the silent, "but what if," that tries to attach itself to your decree. And you must understand that the phrase "I will give you" is constructed to carry its own internal alignment. It affirms, it denies, it surrenders, so that when it leaves your lips, it is already complete in form and function. When that happens, the law cannot help but respond, for it is bound to obey its own nature. And when it responds, the vault that has seemed immovable will yield in an instant. Now you see why so many have spoken words without receiving the wealth they sought. Not because the law is fickle or the promise untrue, but because the structure of their decree was incomplete. A wealth decree, like a finely crafted key, must have every ridge, every cut, every curve in perfect alignment to turn the lock. Miss one element, and the key will slide uselessly against the mechanism. This is the difference between saying words that sound spiritual and speaking a decree that commands the law into motion. The phrase "I will give you" is not merely poetic. It has been built according to the exact geometry of spiritual law, containing within it 3 distinct elements that make it unshakable. The first is the open acknowledgement of an already present divine supply. The second is the rightful claim of that supply as your own by divine inheritance. The third is the release of the outcome into the hands of infinite intelligence, under grace and in perfect ways, which prevent strain, delay, or harm. Remove any one of these, and you have a partial key. Perhaps it will rattle the lock, but it will not open it. Include all three, and the vault responds instantly. But I will not yet reveal the exact wording. I am telling you enough to build expectancy, because expectancy is the magnet that will pull the moment toward you. Already, as you hear these truths, you may sense a stirring within, a flicker of anticipation that feels almost electric. This is no accident. The law responds even now to your quickened faith. And in the space between now and the revelation of the phrase, you are being prepared. Every doubt is loosening its grip, every false belief is losing its authority, and the soil of your consciousness is becoming fertile for the seed that will soon be sown. Think of it as standing before that great vault once again, the combination dial clicking as you turn it. You have felt the first tumblers fall into place. You have heard the inner click of understanding, but the final turn is still to come, and with it, the great swinging open of the door. When that happens, it will not be a slow creak. It will be the sudden yielding of something that has been ready to open for a long, long time. And when it does, your life will never return to the measure it knew before, for the decree will have rewritten the laws of your own experience. The next time I speak of the phrase, it will be to place it on your tongue. But first, we step into the training that ensures when you speak it, the vault will not hesitate. Before the decree can leave your lips with the force of creation, your mind must be prepared as the holy vessel through which it will pass. To speak without preparation is like trying to pour living water into a vessel still filled with mud. The water is pure, but the mixture will be clouded, weakened, and unfit to nourish the life it was meant to bring forth. The preparation I am speaking of is not complicated, but it is deliberate. It begins with stillness, a quieting of the clamor of the outer world and the restless chatter of the inner voice. In this stillness, you create the sacred chamber where the word will take root before it is spoken. In the morning, before you open yourself to the day's demands, before you answer to any voice but the one within, sit in a posture of calm readiness. Close your eyes and breathe with intention, as though you are drawing in the very breath of God, filling every cell with light and peace. Let your mind settle into the awareness that all supply already exists in the unseen, that nothing needs to be created from scratch. It is already finished, waiting only for your word to call it forth into visibility. This is not the stillness of passivity. It is the stillness of alignment, like an archer holding the bowstring drawn, every muscle ready, every thought focused on the mark. Once this stillness has settled over you, begin to align your emotions with the reality you are about to decree. Do not speak from the vibration of wanting, speak from the vibration of having. Feel the ease of bills paid in full, the security of surplus, the freedom of moving through your day without the weight of financial concern. Let these feelings saturate your being until they are no longer imagination but memory, a reality your spirit already knows to be true. The law cannot resist such agreement. It must outpicture in form what has been fully accepted in consciousness. Only after thought, feeling, and expectation have united in this way should the decree be spoken. This is the difference between a phrase that ricochets off the walls of your circumstances and one that slices through them like a blade, rearranging reality in its wake. The decree we are moving toward will be spoken once you are in this state. For then it will not be a plea or a wish. It will be the sound of law itself speaking through you. When that happens, wealth will not need to be chased, coaxed, or hunted down. It will turn and come to you as if it had been listening for that one sound all along. Every effective wealth decree carries within it a divine architecture, a pattern as exact as the blueprint of a master builder. To the untrained ear, it may sound like a simple sentence, perhaps even an ordinary string of words. But to the law, it is a perfect chord struck on the instrument of creation. This architecture is why Florence Scovel Shinn's affirmations worked unfailingly for those who grasped their form, and why vague, self-invented phrases often fail to deliver. The law responds to precision, and a proper decree is as precise as the combination of a lock. The first pillar of a true wealth decree is acknowledgement of divine supply. Before you can draw anything into form, you must affirm that it already exists in the invisible realm of spirit. This is not the language of future hopes, it is the language of present reality. When you say, "I have unending supply by divine right," you are not imagining something into being. You are recognizing a truth that has been in existence since before time began. You are stating what God has already finished, and in doing so, you align your mind with the storehouse of all provision. The second pillar is receiving by divine right. Many can acknowledge that abundance exists, yet they leave it hovering in some abstract, distant space because they have not claimed it as theirs. By declaring your right to it, not by human merit, but by divine inheritance, you bring that abundance out of abstraction and into personal possession. This is not arrogance, it is obedience to the truth that you are an heir to the kingdom, and that the wealth prepared for you is part of your rightful estate. When you say, "It is mine by divine right," you are not taking what belongs to another. You are accepting what was always meant for you. The third pillar is release under grace and in perfect ways. This final element is what seals the decree in safety and perfection. Without it, you might unconsciously invite struggle, delay, or harmful channels. But when you release the manifestation to unfold under grace and in perfect ways, you surrender the how to infinite intelligence, ensuring that what comes to you is free from harm, free from force, and tailored to your highest good. This surrender is not weakness, it is wisdom, for it allows the law to work through the most direct, harmonious, and often miraculous paths available. When all three pillars are present in one decree, the law recognizes its own signature in your words and responds as though the decree had come from the mouth of spirit itself. This is why the phrase "I will give you" works with such precision. It is not random, nor is it merely positive thinking. It is the exact blueprint of a wealth decree, spoken in a form the universe cannot refuse. And once you master its structure, you will never again waste breath on words that cannot build. A decree, no matter how perfectly constructed, can be undone in an instant by careless speech. It is like setting a magnificent table for a royal feast, only to sweep it all to the floor with one careless gesture. Words of lack, doubt, or fear act as counter-orders to the law, reversing the momentum you have built. This is why so many wonder why their affirmations don't work. They speak the right words for a moment, but spend the rest of the day issuing decrees that contradict and cancel them. If you say in the morning, "I have unending supply by divine right," but later mutter to a friend, "I don't know how I'll pay for this," the law is given two opposing instructions, and the law, being exact and impartial, cannot carry out both. The vibration of lack often overrides the decree because it is charged with greater emotional intensity. Spirit does not judge your words as good or bad. It simply reproduces their essence. It is as if you sent an architect two blueprints for the same house, one for a palace and one for a shack. Which will be built? The one you keep sending the most detailed and repeated instructions for. Florence Scovel Shinn was unwavering on this point. You must guard your speech as you would guard a fortune, for your words are your fortune. She advised students to eliminate every phrase that begins with "I can't," "I don't have," or "I'm afraid," for these are the seeds of continued lack. Even casual statements like "money doesn't grow on trees" or "I'm broke" are toxic to your demonstration, for they train your subconscious to expect shortage and instruct the law to comply. You must become vigilant, not fearful, but alert, to the language you allow past your lips. When you catch yourself speaking lack, stop immediately and replace it with a truth-aligned decree. If you say, "I can't afford this," instantly shift to, "My supply is endless and immediate." If you say, "I never get the opportunities I want," replace it with, Divine opportunities flow to me in perfect ways. In time, this will become automatic, and your speech will be a continuous stream of law-affirming commands. Until you master this vigilance, the sacred phrase I will give you will work only temporarily, for you will unknowingly undermine it with your own words. But once you clear contradictory language from your life, your decrees will stand unopposed, and the vault of your wealth will open without resistance or delay. There is a hidden force in the spoken word that multiplies its power with each deliberate rhythmic repetition. This is not mindless chanting, nor is it mechanical recitation. It is the intentional striking of the same spiritual note until it resounds through every layer of your consciousness and echoes in the unseen realms. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this deeply. She likened it to priming a pump. At first, a few strokes may yield nothing, then comes a trickle. Then, if you persist, the water flows in a steady, unstoppable stream. The decree works the same way. Each repetition clears another obstruction in thought, loosens another resistance in feeling, and strengthens the alignment between your inner certainty and the outer manifestation. The rhythm is vital because the subconscious mind responds to pattern. When you speak your decree in a steady cadence, you bypass the analytical mind that is always questioning and calculating. The conscious mind, busy keeping time with the rhythm, relaxes its grip, allowing the truth of your words to sink deeply into the fertile soil of the subconscious. And once the subconscious accepts an idea as true, it will work tirelessly to bring every aspect of your life into agreement with it. Imagine striking a bell in a quiet room. The first strike sends a wave of sound through the air. Strike it again before the first wave fades, and the sound grows richer, fuller, more resonant. Continue, and the room itself seems to vibrate. This is what rhythmic repetition does with your decree. It saturates not just your mind, but your atmosphere with the vibration of wealth until everything within and around you is attuned to receive it. It is also in rhythm that you will begin to feel the decree's reality. The first few repetitions may feel like something you are saying. After a while, they begin to feel like something you are hearing from within, as if your own spirit were reminding you of a truth it has always known. That is the moment when the decree crosses from words on your lips to law in your being, and from that point on, the outer manifestation becomes inevitable. When we arrive at the sacred phrase, I will have you speak it in such a rhythm, not rushed, not dragging, but steady, alive, and filled with authority. By the time it has left your lips in that pattern, you will have done more than speak a sentence. You will have struck the chord that opens the vault, and the current of your wealth will begin to flow without interruption. Several years ago, a woman came to me with eyes clouded by worry, her mind worn thin from years of chasing money that seemed always just out of reach. She was diligent, capable, even creative, but her speech betrayed her. Every other sentence carried some seed of lack. I can't seem to get ahead. Something always comes up. I'll never have enough to feel safe. She had read books, taken courses, tried countless affirmations, yet her results were like water poured into a leaking vessel. I taught her the structure of a proper decree, though I did not yet give her the exact phrase I knew would change her life. Instead, I guided her through the preparation, the stillness in the morning, the emotional alignment with having rather than wanting, and the vigilant clearing of contradictory speech. For 3 days, she trained her tongue as if it were a prized instrument, catching each note of lack and replacing it with a chord of abundance. By the 4th day, her speech was pure, no idle complaints, no nervous projections, only words that agreed with the truth of her divine supply. It was then that I gave her the decree, built on the 3 pillars we have spoken of. She took it in her hands like a key she had been searching for all her life. That night, she spoke it aloud in a steady rhythm, 12 times, each repetition sinking deeper into her spirit. She told me later that as she spoke it, she felt a strange but welcome sensation, as if something heavy inside her had unlatched. Within 48 hours, she received an unexpected call from an old acquaintance she hadn't heard from in years. This person had a contract to offer her, Work that suited her talents perfectly, with payment terms so generous they more than covered her immediate needs and gave her surplus. She told me, with tears of gratitude, it felt like the money had been waiting for me to speak those words. And in truth, it had. The vault had been there all along, the supply untouched and ready, but it could not respond until it heard the sound of law on her lips. This is the power of the right decree, spoken in alignment with divine law. The phrase she used is nearly identical to the one I will give you before we end this time together. The moment you speak it as she did, prepared, aligned, and unwavering, you too will feel that inner latch release, and your wealth will begin to flow toward you in perfect ways. The story is not hers alone. It is a demonstration of the law that works the same for all who obey its terms. The greatest obstacle to the operation of spiritual law in your life is not the lack of supply, nor is it the unwillingness of God to give. It is the spell of appearances, the hypnotic pull of what the senses report as reality. You may look at your bank balance, see numbers that speak of shortage, and believe them to be the final word. You may glance at your unpaid bills, the empty calendar of incoming work, or the list of obligations ahead, and allow them to dictate what is possible. This is the spell that must be broken if you are to speak a decree that moves mountains. Florence Scovel Shinn called appearances lies in the subconscious mind, because they are not the truth of spirit, but the temporary outpicturing of past thoughts, words, and beliefs. They are effects, not causes, and as such, they can be dissolved and replaced the moment a higher truth is spoken with authority. But as long as you treat appearances as the cause, you will feel like a prisoner to them, adjusting your expectations downward to fit what you see, rather than commanding what you see to rise to meet your expectation. Breaking this spell requires a shift in perception. When you see a small bank balance, you must train yourself to say, "This is only a picture of the past. My true supply is endless and immediate." When a bill arrives, instead of groaning or fearing it, bless it and declare, "This is proof that I am trusted with provision, and the provision is already on its way." Each time you respond to an appearance with truth instead of reaction, you weaken the spell, and the old image begins to dissolve from your reality. It is essential to remember that the law does not work by fixing appearances. It works by replacing them entirely. If your window shows you a barren field, you do not sit and wish the picture would change. You rise and look through a new window that shows the harvest. In the same way, the decree we are moving toward is not spoken to patch over the lack you see. It is spoken to replace it with the abundance that already exists in the unseen. When you no longer bow to appearances, you step into the role of creator rather than reactor. Your words become the cause, and what you see becomes the effect, obedient to the law you have set in motion. This is the position from which the sacred phrase must be spoken. From here, the vault cannot remain closed, because you have refused to let the picture of a closed door convince you that the treasure does not exist. Faith is not a fragile feeling that comes and goes with the moods of the day. It is a spiritual muscle that grows stronger with deliberate use. Just as the body does not gain strength from lifting a weight once, your inner certainty does not grow from an occasional act of belief. It must be exercised daily, intentionally, until it becomes the natural posture of your soul. Florence Scovel Shinn knew that wealth is not drawn to uncertainty. It is magnetized by the unwavering vibration of "I have" rather than "I hope." To build this level of conviction, you must engage your faith as you would a muscle, training it until it can hold the weight of your decree without wavering. Begin with small acts of obedience to divine truth. When intuition prompts you toward an action, take it, even if it defies the logic of appearances. If you sense to speak a blessing over your finances when the bills arrive, do so, resisting the old impulse to worry. If you feel led to give in a way that affirms your own supply, obey, trusting that what you send out in faith will return multiplied. Each time you act in alignment with divine principle rather than with fear, you add strength to your faith muscle. In addition, speak faith-building affirmations that keep your consciousness saturated with truth. Say aloud, Everything I need is now appearing in perfect ways. Declare, God is my instant, constant, and endless supply. Let these statements become the background music of your mind, so familiar that they arise unbidden in moments when old fears once spoke the loudest. When doubt attempts to creep in, do not argue with it. Simply override it with truth, the way you would replace a discordant note with the correct one in a song. The goal is to make faith so present in your inner world that when you speak the sacred phrase, it rides on a current of certainty rather than being dragged down by a tide of fear. Faith is the energy that gives the decree its weight in the invisible realm, the anchor that ensures it holds its position until the manifestation arrives. Without it, even the most perfectly constructed phrase can be eroded by the constant lapping of doubt. But with faith strengthened, the decree stands immovable, and the law, having received its command, must deliver in exact accordance with your word. This is how the vault of your wealth responds, not reluctantly, but eagerly, to the voice of one who speaks from the unshakable ground of knowing. The decree you are about to receive is not meant to be spoken once and forgotten, nor is it intended to be used only in moments of ceremonial stillness. Its greatest power is released when it becomes your default response to every thought, image, and conversation concerning money, supply, and opportunity. Most people's default responses are shaped by habit, and for many, those habits are steeped in fear. A bill arrives, and the first thought is, how will I cover this? An opportunity appears, and the first instinct is to doubt their readiness or worthiness. These reflexes are not conscious choices. They are grooves worn deep by years of repetition. To reprogram them, you must replace them with the immediate, instinctive release of your decree. This is mental discipline of the highest order. It means that when an unexpected expense presents itself, you do not allow the old pattern to speak first. Instead, without hesitation, your tongue releases the truth. I have unending supply by divine right. Money comes to me in avalanches of abundance, under grace, in perfect ways. When you overhear someone lamenting about the economy or predicting scarcity, you do not join the chorus. You speak your decree within yourself, holding to the vibration of abundance no matter what voices surround you. To embed this as a default, you must carry the decree with you. Write it on a card, keep it on your phone, place it in your wallet, post it where your eyes naturally land throughout the day. In moments of quiet, speak it aloud with rhythmic authority, training both mind and tongue to produce it on demand. The goal is for it to become as natural as your own name, so ingrained in your consciousness that it rises unbidden in every circumstance related to wealth. This is not mere memorization, it is conditioning the mind to obey the truth automatically. Once achieved, you will find that fear no longer has time to take root, because the decree occupies its place instantly. And in this constancy, the law finds no contradiction, no mixed instruction, no wavering to undermine its work. Your decree becomes the unbroken current carrying you toward your prepared abundance. It is in such constancy that miracles of timing occur. Debts vanish, unexpected checks arrive, the right introductions happen seemingly by accident. In truth, it is no accident at all. It is the steady fulfillment of a command that has never been rescinded. This is the state from which the vault not only opens but remains open, the flow of wealth unceasing because the word that opened it has never been withdrawn. We return now to the image I placed before you at the very beginning. The great vault, vast and silent, holding within it every form of wealth that belongs to you by divine inheritance. For many, this vault has seemed like a symbol of distance, of something locked away beyond reach. Yet I tell you, it has never been far. It has always been as close as your own breath, waiting for the one sound that would cause its locks to yield. With every truth you have received in these moments together, every false belief you have discarded, you have been turning the dial. And now, as we revisit this metaphor, the wheel is warm under your hand, the tumblers aligned, the final click just a breath away. You can feel it, can you not? that subtle but unmistakable shift in your inner atmosphere, the way your thoughts about wealth no longer feel scattered but gathered, precise, charged with authority. This is the direct result of the mental reprogramming you have undertaken. Where once your words might have been a mixture of command and contradiction, they are now leaning wholly toward truth. Where once the vault's door seemed unyielding, it now hums with readiness, as though recognizing that the rightful owner is near. Each repetition of the truth, each denial of lack, each act of faith you have practiced has been another turn of the dial. You have learned that idle speech can lock the vault again, and so you have become a guardian of your own words. You have learned that rhythm builds momentum, that preparation creates alignment, that faith is the muscle which holds the decree in place until the door swings open. And because you have learned these things, the sound you are about to make, the sacred phrase you are preparing to speak, will not be the uncertain knock of a stranger. It will be the unmistakable command of one who knows the combination. Hold this image with you now, the cool, smooth steel of the vault door, the satisfying feel of the wheel turning under your hand, the final click signaling that all is in place. The law is the lock, your understanding is the dial, and the decree is the key itself. In just a short while, we will turn it together, and when the door opens, there will be no struggle, no delay, no rationing of your good. The vault will pour forth in a measure that overwhelms every memory of lack, and you will know that it was your word, your conscious, aligned, and unwavering word that called it forth. The vault is in your hand now, not the idea of it, not the dream of it, but the very wheel and latch of it, ready to be moved by your command. And yet, here we pause, holding you in the tension of the moment before fulfillment, because anticipation is not a delay, it is a force. The mind that is poised, expectant, and leaning forward into its good becomes a magnet of irresistible pull. In this space, before the final phrase is spoken, you are standing in the highest vibrational readiness, a state where every channel for wealth is sensitive to your call. I will not open the vault for you. That is not my task. My role is to bring you to this place where you can feel in your own being that the lock is ready to yield, that you yourself hold the means to release it. If I were to give you the phrase now, without this ripening of your spirit, it would be like giving seed to soil that has not yet been turned. You might plant it, but the harvest would not come in the fullness it could have. This moment, this space between knowledge and action, is where the ground is being broken, where your inner agreement is reaching its peak. I want you to live in this expectancy for a little while longer. Feel it in your body, that subtle hum in the chest, that lightness in the mind, that deep knowing that something is about to happen. The decree you will speak is not just another sentence among many. It is the sound that will echo through the unseen corridors of your life and rearrange the furniture of your reality. It is the summoning of prepared riches, the unlocking of channels that have been set aside for you, the signal to every provision assigned to your name that it is time to appear. So we keep the loop open, the combination half turned, the door not yet swung wide. You will hear the final click soon, and when you do, it will not only be in your imagination, you will feel it in the marrow of your being. And when the vault does open, there will be no mistaking it. The inflow will come not as a slow trickle, but as a sweeping current, and you will know that it came because you spoke from this exact state, prepared, aligned, and standing on the threshold of your good. The next movement will be the turn that changes everything. From this moment forward, I challenge you to take a sacred vow, a vow of refusal. Refuse to let any word of lack cross your lips, not for one day, not for 1 hour, not for one breath. You have spent enough of your life speaking as if shortage were your master, as if the economy could dictate your abundance, as if the balance in your bank account were the measure of your worth. Those words have been like seeds scattered on barren ground, bringing forth harvests of worry, delay, and disappointment. No more. You are now the guardian of your own harvest, and every word you speak is either watering the garden of your wealth or poisoning it. Understand this: lack is not simply an absence of money, it is a state of consciousness, a vibration, a pattern of thought and speech that rejects the truth of divine supply. When you say, "I can't afford this," or "I never have enough," you are not describing reality, you are creating it. Each such statement is a command to the law to keep you in the very condition you despise. The law is impartial. It will give you exactly what you decree, whether by faith or by fear. So I command you now to stop lending your voice to the lie of limitation. Treat every statement of lack as you would treat a dangerous intruder in your home. Do not entertain it. Do not negotiate with it. Expel it instantly. Replace it at once with truth. My supply is endless, immediate, and constantly replenished. Every channel of my good is now open and flowing in perfect ways. Make this your unbroken habit until it becomes impossible for you to speak otherwise. I warn you, this discipline will feel strange at first, for you are breaking a lifelong habit. But it will also feel exhilarating, for with each refusal to speak lack, you are declaring your dominion over it. You will notice changes, subtle at first, then unmistakable. People will respond differently to you. Opportunities will present themselves. Money will flow from unexpected channels. And it will all be because you closed your mouth to the language of poverty and opened it only to the speech of wealth. Hold this vow as if your life depends on it, because the life you desire does depend on it. For the law is always listening, and from this moment it will hear only the voice of one who refuses to speak anything but the truth of their inexhaustible supply. Now that you have vowed to refuse the language of lack, you must step fully into the speech of possession, the language of one who already holds the title deed to their good. This is not pretending. This is not faking it until you make it. This is speaking from the eternal truth that your supply exists right now in the invisible and is moving into the visible at your command. Florence Scovel Shinn often reminded her students that one does not beg for what is already theirs, one claims it. And the tone of your speech must match the reality you are calling forth. When you speak as one who already has, you remove the strain and desperation that repels your good. Instead, your words carry the calm certainty of ownership. Imagine the difference between a tenant anxiously pleading with a landlord for permission to enter a room and the owner of the house walking confidently through their own door. The tenant asks, the owner declares, "Your wealth is not locked away in someone else's estate. It is part of your divine inheritance, and you are the rightful possessor. Speak as such." This means saying, "I move through life surrounded by divine abundance," rather than, "I hope abundance will come." It means declaring, "I have more than enough for every desire and obligation," instead of, "I'm waiting for enough to arrive." The subtle shift in tense and tone is everything. The universe does not deliver to the state of wanting, it delivers to the state of having. When you live and speak in that state, the law recognizes its own nature in your words and rushes to make them visible. To seal this in your consciousness, I want you to practice right now. Speak aloud 3 times, slowly and with authority. I have my wealth now. I have my wealth now. I have my wealth now. Feel the difference between this and any hopeful statement you have ever made. Notice how the body relaxes when you speak from possession, how the mind stops grasping and begins to rest in certainty. This is the posture from which the sacred phrase we are building toward must be spoken, a posture of already having, already holding, already enjoying. When you adopt this identity, something extraordinary happens. You stop chasing wealth, and wealth begins to find you. It appears in the form of ideas, opportunities, and channels you could not have engineered by effort alone. It comes without the sweat of strain, because it is responding to the vibration of one who already owns it. This is the transformation, from petitioner to possessor, from seeker to finder, from the one knocking to the one opening the door. Speak as one who already has, and watch the vault swing wide at the sound of your voice. It has been forming in your spirit all this time. the phrase that will turn the wheel of the vault and release what has been stored for you since before you could name it. Every principle we have laid down, every correction of your speech, every act of mental reprogramming has been a stroke of the key being cut. And now, that key is almost finished. You can feel its shape in your soul, even if you cannot yet hold it in your hand. The anticipation is not an accident. It is the final stage of alignment, the gathering of all your energy into the single moment when command and fulfillment will meet. I have not delayed to withhold from you. I have delayed to prepare you. Many have spoken powerful words without being prepared to hold their results, and those results slipped through their fingers as quickly as they came. But you will be different. When you speak this decree, it will not be from the trembling hope of the untrained, but from the anchored certainty of one who has mastered the law of their own voice. That is why, when you release it, it will not simply create a brief rush of supply. It will set in motion a sustained flow, a stream of abundance that does not run dry because it is fed from the infinite source itself. In these final moments before the revelation, I ask you to lean into the expectancy that now fills you. Picture the vault again, but this time see it from within, as if you were already standing among the treasures, feeling the cool touch of gold beneath your fingers, hearing the soft rustle of paper wealth as it fills your hands. This is not fantasy. It is memory from the higher part of you that has always known this moment was coming. When the decree leaves your lips, it will not summon something new. It will simply open the door to what has always been waiting for you. So we stand here, hand on the latch, heart steady, breath deep. One more step remains before the words are yours, and when that step is taken, there will be no going back to the life of speaking lack, of waiting and wondering. You will have crossed the threshold into the life where your voice commands your world and your wealth answers without hesitation. The next time I speak of the vault, it will be to tell you that it has opened. The next time I give you a phrase, it will be the one that keeps it open. Prepare yourself. The moment of decree is almost here. Now we bring the atmosphere of your mind to a boil, saturating it with words that leave no gap for doubt to creep in. These declarations are not to be whispered timidly or spoken as though testing their weight. They are to be released like arrows from a bow, each one carrying the vibration of truth, each one hitting its mark in the unseen. Speak them aloud with me, not as a mere exercise, but as a living demonstration of the authority you now carry. My supply is endless and immediate. Feel the sweep of those words as they roll off your tongue. Endless, immediate. This is not the language of waiting. It is the language of now. Endless means it cannot be depleted, and immediate means it does not delay. Every lead I follow brings increase. With this, you strip away the fear of wrong turns. Every step you take under divine direction is upward and forward. Nothing can be wasted. No move can diminish you. I am a magnet for my own riches. Not just any riches, but the ones that bear your name in the ledger of spirit. The contracts, the inheritances, the opportunities, the divine appointments that belong to your path and no other. God's wealth flows to me in perfect ways. This is the release, the surrender of the how, the removal of all struggle from the process. You need not scheme, force, or manipulate. The law works with elegance when left to its own channels. Speak each of these again in a steady rhythm, feeling your voice strike the same note over and over until it reverberates through you. Do not stop at hearing them in your ears. Feel them in your chest, your bones, your breath. This is rhythmic saturation, and with every repetition, the vibration grows denser, more magnetic, more irresistible to the good that is already making its way toward you. You are no longer rehearsing for a moment of power. You are in it. These declarations are the drumbeat before the march begins, the rolling thunder before the downpour. In just a moment, they will give way to the single phrase that will crystallize them all into one decree, and when it is spoken, it will carry with it the full momentum you have built here. The vault is trembling on its hinges, and the sound of your voice is the final vibration it needs to break open. Now you gather every word you have spoken, every truth you have claimed, every denial of lack you have issued, and you bind them together into one final surge of command before the revelation. This is not the moment for half-hearted speech or lingering hesitation. This is where your voice becomes the voice of law itself. You have learned that wealth does not respond to pleading, it responds to authority. You have learned that the universe does not weigh your worthiness, it obeys your decree. And now you speak as one who knows their place in the divine order, as one whose word is the extension of the word that created worlds. Say it now with all the weight of your preparation. Wealth obeys my voice because my voice is law under grace. Let it roll through you once, twice, 3 times, each repetition deepening the groove of certainty in your mind. When you speak this, you are not describing a possibility. You are issuing a command that reverberates through the unseen, summoning the substance of your good into immediate form. Picture the vault as you say it. The heavy steel, the intricate lock, the air on the other side heavy with the scent of long-kept treasures. And with each repetition, the tumblers align, the latch slides, the door shifts. You can hear it now, that deep, resonant click, the sound of a mechanism that has finally yielded to the correct command. You feel it in your chest, in the very center of your being, a release that tells you the way is now open. Do not rush from this moment. Hold it, let it expand, let it fill the space around you. This is the culmination of every step we have taken together. The clearing of old speech, the aligning of mind and feeling, the rhythmic saturation of truth, the transformation of identity. All of it has led here, to the edge of the final revelation. You are standing in the open doorway of your wealth, and what comes next will not simply open the vault. It will keep it open, ensuring that the flow remains unbroken for as long as your words remain aligned with the law. In the next breath, the phrase will be yours. Here it is. The key, the final turn of the dial, the phrase that has been waiting for your readiness as much as you have been waiting for it. We have walked together through preparation, through cleansing of speech, through the steady training of mind and feeling, and now your spirit stands at the threshold with the vault door before you. You have heard me speak of its 3 pillars: acknowledgement of supply, rightful claim, and surrender under grace. All of these are woven into the words you are about to speak. This is not a string of hopeful wishes. This is a decree stamped with the seal of divine authority, a combination lock in verbal form. Say it with me now, slowly, deliberately, as if you were speaking it to the very foundations of creation. I have unending supply by divine right. Money comes to me in avalanches of abundance, under grace, in perfect ways. Again, let the first part ground you in the eternal reality that your supply is not something you must create. It already exists, unending, given to you by the only source that can never fail. Let the second part, money comes to me in avalanches of abundance, shatter every notion of trickles and scraps, replacing them with the vision of unstoppable overflow. And let the final part, under grace, in perfect ways, release the manifestation into channels of harmony, timing, and divine order, so that your increase blesses and is blessed, harming none and benefiting all. As you speak it, feel the vault swing wide, hear the hinges, unused for so long, move with the strength of divine inevitability. See the wealth prepared for you rush forward as though it had been straining against the door, eager for this very moment. You are not pulling it from some unwilling source. You are allowing it to flow from the reservoir that has been waiting for your command. This is the sentence that will open and keep open the channels of your supply, provided you speak it with the same authority, alignment, and constancy you have learned here. It is yours now, a key you will never again lose, unless you choose to lay it down. Hold it, use it, honor it, and let it do the work it was designed to do. For the vault is open, the current is flowing, and your wealth has heard and answered your voice. Now that the phrase is yours, it must not remain a private murmur hidden in the corners of your mind. A decree gains amplified power when it is spoken into the world as a public witness, for by doing so, you set an unshakable stake in the ground of your own reality. When you make this affirmation visible and audible beyond yourself, you are declaring to the law, to your own subconscious, and to the very atmosphere around you, "This is who I am, and this is what is now unfolding in my life." Here is how you will do it. Type the exact sacred sentence into the comments right now. Not a paraphrase, not a version that feels easier or sounds better, but exactly as it was given. I have unending supply by divine right. Money comes to me in avalanches of abundance, under grace, in perfect ways. When you write these words, you are not performing a casual internet interaction. You are placing your name, your energy, and your faith on a document of spiritual law, your public decree and your spiritual contract. This is the point of no return, the moment when the unseen moves into the scene, because you have dared to make your command visible. Just as a signed covenant is binding in the realm of human agreements, so your written decree is binding in the realm of spirit. Do not delay. Do not tell yourself you will come back to it later. The vault door is open now, the current is moving now, and the energy of your decree is at its peak. Seal it while it is burning with life in your spirit. Let the act of typing each word be a conscious release of authority, an acknowledgement that you have moved from learning to owning, from listening to commanding. Once you have made your public decree, consider it done. You do not have to explain it, justify it, or convince anyone else of its truth. The law requires no persuasion from others, it answers to you. And when it answers, it will do so in ways that leave you certain it was your word, spoken in faith and sealed in action, that brought the demonstration to pass. This is the power of the public decree. This is how you anchor your wealth into the fabric of your life so deeply that nothing can uproot it. Now that you have spoken and sealed your decree, I am calling you into the next vital movement of this demonstration, the return. You have released your word into the law, and the law has already begun its invisible work, setting in motion a chain of events, connections, and opportunities that will bring your wealth into visible form. This is not a someday promise. The moment you spoke the phrase, the current began to flow toward you. And because this work is active now, I urge you to come back tomorrow, to stand again in this atmosphere of faith, and to give witness to the signs that have already begun to appear. Why tomorrow? Because the law often gives its first visible answer in ways that are small enough to be dismissed, if you are not looking for them. A phone call from someone you hadn't thought of in years, a piece of unexpected information, a credit to your account, a new idea that arrives in a flash of inspiration. These are not coincidences. They are the first glimmers of the avalanche, the edges of the wave that will swell into full manifestation. When you return tomorrow and name them, you confirm to the law that you recognize its work and that you are ready for the next surge. This act of returning is also a deepening of your covenant. It is your way of saying, I am in partnership with divine supply. I will watch, I will listen, I will acknowledge. You are not a passive recipient waiting with folded hands. You are an active co-creator, attentive to the unfolding of your good. The law delights in the consciousness that expects, notices, and praises, for that consciousness is magnetic to more. So I challenge you, before you close your eyes tonight, expect that tomorrow you will have a sign, a token, a piece of evidence that the vault is open and the flow is moving. And when it comes, speak it aloud, write it down, and return here to testify, not for my sake, but for yours. For each testimony you give strengthens the structure of your faith and anchors you deeper in the reality you have decreed. The vault has opened. Tomorrow you will see proof that the treasures are already on their way. Even as you stand in this moment, feeling the power of your decree still reverberating in your being, I want to place before you a gentle but unshakable call to carry this work forward beyond today. The vault is open, yes, but it remains open only as long as your words remain in agreement with the law that opened it. This is not about striving or forcing, it is about continuing the rhythm of truth until it becomes as natural to you as breathing. And so, I invite you to make the sacred sentence part of your daily spiritual practice for the next 21 days without fail. Each morning, before your feet touch the floor, speak it aloud 3 times, slowly and with full awareness of each word. As you speak it, do not rush through it as though checking a task off a list. Feel each phrase take root. I have unending supply by divine right. Feel the immensity of that truth, that the source from which your supply flows cannot be exhausted. Money comes to me in avalanches of abundance. See the unstoppable overflow, the generous cascade. Under grace in perfect ways. Release it, trusting that what comes will arrive in harmony, bringing blessings without sorrow. Then, before you sleep each night, speak it again, not as a demand, but as a seal over the day. This repeated rhythm will not only keep the vault open, but will expand the flow, increasing your capacity to receive. The law responds to constancy. It thrives in the presence of unwavering vibration. And as you continue, you will find that the declaration becomes less something you do and more something you are. Understand, wealth is not a one-time windfall. It is a state of consciousness that, once firmly established, produces endlessly. This soft second call to action is my way of ensuring you do not simply taste this truth once, but live in it, walk in it, and embody it. Over the next 3 weeks, watch what changes. The ease with which opportunities find you, the way unexpected channels of increase open, the naturalness with which you speak from abundance rather than about it. This is how momentum becomes permanence. And it is why the next time you find yourself in need, the vault will not feel like a distant fortress to be unlocked, but a door that is already open, waiting for you to step through. Keep speaking, keep aligning, keep receiving. The law will not tire, the flow will not weaken, the supply will not run dry. Now I speak a blessing over you. Not a hope, not a wish, but a release of law into your life that will continue to work long after this moment has passed. I bless your words, that they may always be steeped in truth and authority. I bless your mind, that it may remain clear, steadfast, and impervious to the illusions of lack. I bless your heart, that it may beat in rhythm with divine abundance, never doubting, never faltering, but moving always in the calm certainty of having. I bless your path, that every step you take be guided to fertile ground, to right opportunities, to doors already open before you knock. See yourself now standing before the vault that has loomed so large in our time together. It is no longer a cold and distant monument. It is open, wide, and generous, the golden light of its treasures spilling out and surrounding you. This light wraps itself around your body, seeps into your thoughts, and flows into your future. You no longer question whether the vault will close again, for you know that the latch responds only to your word, and your word is now disciplined, aligned, and sure. Leave here today knowing that wealth is no longer something you pursue, it is something you command. It is no longer a condition you hope to enter, it is the state in which you now live. The sacred sentence is yours. It belongs to you in the same way that the air belongs to your lungs and the light belongs to the sun. Use it, honor it, and let it work. Speak it as naturally as you speak your own name, and let it draw to you the life that was prepared for you before you even asked. This is the close of our time together, but it is not the end of the demonstration. From this day, expect the evidence of your decree to appear, and when it does, acknowledge it, bless it, and expect more. The vault is open, the flow is unbroken, and the law is already delivering. Walk in this truth, live in this truth, and know it is done.